What's up, people?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Ty, do we need a preamble given that the Seahawks are invincible, undefeated?
We're 1-0. We've won this championship opportunity, and we're on to who's next? Dallas. Yeah, we're on to Dallas.
Wow, 30 people. There we go. Like the
What's
video, please.
up? What's up? Welcome.
So Ty, I'll do the intro. Should we just get right into it?
Let's do it. Let's just hop right into it.
Okay. Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where the Seattle Seahawks have won their first preseason game. If I'd done research, I'd be able to actually tell you when the last time it was that they won their opener. Feels like it's been a while, but they've won. They defeated the Minnesota Vikings at home 24-13. It was a shaky start for them, particularly on the defense, but good things happened. They ended up coming back, playing some pretty complimentary football on both sides of the ball. Rookies kind of were splashy. It's good vibes. Very good vibes.
Very good vibes indeed. Yes, absolutely. It's always good when you go 1-0, Matty. Always.
It is. 1-0 each week. That's the mentality.
That's right. We're taking it one game at a time, baby. One game at a time. I'm trying to research the last time they won an opener, a preseason opener. It's been a while. They didn't win it in 2022. They didn't win it in 2021.
So my hunch was correct.
Did they do it in 2019? I'm not going to keep on looking through They did it in 2019 against the Broncos. There we go.
Wow. It's been 4 long years, 4 years of pain.
4 whole years.
We've seen exhibition Seahawks football result in a W.
That's right. Well, preseason opener. They have won some preseason games since then. But yeah, that would be wild.
It would be an absolute shambles.
Yeah.
But what we should say before we kind of dive into it is we understand that the local broadcaster in Seattle had some difficulty showing this game. That did kind of impact me transatlantically also, but I got kind of a Minnesota Vikings feed. Ty across the northern border, you also got a bit of issues.
You're a DAZN boy, right? I'm a DAZN boy. Yeah.
It's DAZN.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
They were not in DAZN. They were
not
out
in
the
DAZN.
bloody zone. I was upset with them. And then everyone pointed out it was actually King 5's problem.
Yeah, but it was it was a little bit DAZN too, because they could have cut to the Vikings broadcast earlier.
Come on, DAZN.
Yeah, like I was just staring at like a countdown screen while like people were tweeting that D. Eskridge got hurt on the kickoff, and I'm just like,
yeah, I thought that like something really bad had happened, and they'd had to just like cut it, like it was just an obscene injury where but fortunately, we should say that D. Eskridge only twisted his knee. We will kind of get to that, I guess, on the subject. It's disappointing for him, given his suspension, first 6 games of the year he's going to miss. This was the year where he was looking to, in his third year of football, put it all together, prove he could stay healthy, which has been his main problem in the league, and he gets hurt on the opening kickoff. But yeah, the broadcast issues were not great. I managed to see most of the game, though, and I think Ty did too. So given that the Seahawks have done a first thing ever in 4 years, we're excited about that. And it's also, I should say, before we get into it, it's 7:05 a.m. here. I have not slept.
It is 2:05 here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So
yeah.
We're staying caffeinated out here. I'm not as much of a sicko as Matty, so this is a little bit of an adventure for me. But this is like,
it's light outside. The birds are chirping.
This is like every day for you, though, Matty.
Yeah. I'm just nocturnal. I'm a vampire.
Right.
No.
Right.
What also sucked about the King 5 thing, before we actually talk about the game on the field, was Michael Bennett was in the booth and he was really good.
Dude, he was snapping.
really good in the Seahawks broadcast. And
he
then
was really good.
It just kept cutting out. And I was like, I wonder what Michael Bennett said that I've completely missed, because they can't actually show what he's talking about with Mike Robinson.
Yeah, he was ripping into guys tonight. It was pretty funny. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great entertainment.
Well, I did also find on the subject of Michael Bennett, and I guess let's lead into the game. Mike Bennett said how obviously he'd been coaching up Seahawks outside linebackers and interior defensive linemen like Mike Morris during the past week. And so having him on the broadcast not only brought his expertise of his playing career, but, he has a specialist insight into the current Seattle defensive lineman. And he was talking about Boye Mafe, and Mafe made a great play, second year outside linebacker, taken in the second round the previous draft. He was saying how after Mafe stacked his guy, he was to the side of the open B gap in Seattle's nickel over front. He took all the air out of it, put two hands on the guy, and then stood him up and shedded him to the ball for a tackle for loss. And Bennett said how he'd been coaching him up in the past week, and he said, I told Mafe all week, I said, you got two of them. Use your hands, Mafe. I said, your hands are too soft. They feel like butter. Slice your hands, get some blood in your hands. Obviously, Michael Bennett said this in a much better way than I just did.
Did you actually write down that quote?
Yeah, that was a cool quote. Very cool.
That was a cool quote. Yeah.
He sliced those hands. And yeah, he was setting the edge. And if Mafe wants to get on the field, he has to show that ability to set the edge first and foremost, because then he, can be used on every down, not just pass rushing. But like he's taken the leap, and obviously Darrell Taylor's still out with this shoulder thing. It really looks like Mafe is going to be a big factor for Seattle, and it's very cool that they have 4 kind of genuine outside linebacker options.
Yeah, and a guy that can really set the edge there like he did tonight. I mean, if he can keep on doing that, that's massive for this team. So, yeah, that was really sick. He had a great game tonight. One thing that I was disappointed in was we didn't get to see Cam Young, and that was because he missed this game due to injury. What was the injury again that Pete said tonight?
He had a calf strain. He injured his calf 2 days ago.
Right. So we saw a lot of Roderick Perry on the interior.
Roddy.
Yeah, old Roddy boy. And what's the other guy's name? Number 69, Sykes?
Yeah, Jacob Sykes.
Yeah. Yeah. He I know Griff really liked some of the things that he was doing tonight. So
I think with the way Seattle's got their interior D line, some guys are going to stand out more because they have a kind of more explosive, penetrating skill set, whereas some of the guys are a bit more kind of big, stout, more classic, like big nose tackle types. But yes, Sykes had real kind of pop, whereas Perry obviously is in his second stint with the team this offseason because he was cut and then re-signed after they had some depth issues at nose tackle. That's one of those to assess how they did, really. We've got to watch the tape for the down-to-down consistency. But I don't really have anything to report. On the outside backers as well, Derek Hall looked pretty good. And Pete Carroll, after the game, was very excited, saying he's doing really well. He's going to be in the midst of rotations in about a month's time. When he says rotations, he means like getting on the field in games regularly, like working through the guys. Pete Carroll said that's because he's too physical, too fast, and got a great head on his shoulders. And he just needs honing his game down. But he was very complimentary about his intangibles, saying he has a really, really good attitude about playing defense, and he's really one of the fellas. Which, like, that shows on his college tape, the way he set the edge. Like, he took that personally, and it's clear he bought into stopping the run and doing his job within the one cog within the machine of defense, right? And he had that really nice hit on Nick Mullins. He just got it slightly wrong where he landed on top of him, and they called roughing the passer. But there's juice that he's going to bring. And we knew that he would because of those athletic traits that Pete said, and then the smarts. But to see it out in action against the top string that the Vikings were willing to put out tonight, very, very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, so some really nice stuff there. I want to talk about the linebackers here because that was kind of a big story for us. We were talking about that. Devin Bush, let's start with the positive. Devin Bush actually looked pretty good tonight, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Pete Carroll highlighted him as a standout player. He said when he was asked about how Seattle stopped the run and how their run defense was, Pete brought up Devin Bush.
Yeah, and he had that really nice play down near the goal line against Abram Smith.
He can run and hit, right? Like he's still got the speed, and I know it looked like after his bad knee injury that he'd lost some agility, but I need to go and watch it back. But it looks like he's got some real burst, so that's exciting.
Yeah, that number 0 looks weird though. I can't lie. It looks a little weird.
You know what? I think Kobe Bryant in 8. If Kobe Bryant wore 29 and was playing safety, it would be a whole different matter. But like in 8, it just looks wrong.
It does look wrong. Like I can deal with it as a nickel, but
Yeah, because that's like
yeah,
a
but as a safety, that was a little weird. He
yeah.
had
And I
a
was like, they're running nickel bear, guys. They're in a bear
yeah.
front, and there's a nick. I was like, no, no, that's a safety.
Mm,
Stupid boy. It's still base personnel.
you were coping a little too hard there, I
Yeah,
think.
tiny bit,
Yeah,
tiny bit.
yeah,
Does
yeah.
happen.
Kobe had a pretty decent game tonight as well. He was running around hitting dudes.
He was hitting dudes. It looks like he's taken to the safety stuff well. I mean, he's basically the well, he'll have to be careful not to become a jack of all trades, master of none. But he is playing all the DB spots. Pete mentioned how they need him to work in outside corner again. But Ty, you wanted to get deep into the inside backer stuff as we were jumping
Right,
around. We're obviously very
right.
excited.
Very
The
excited.
rest of it, Ty,
Very
was not
caffeinated.
so good.
Yeah, no. So you want to start with John Radigan? I think we need to talk about John Radigan
So
because
obviously
he did
Seattle
not
was
have a good
without
night.
Vi Jones, who I think in theory is their next guy up after the starters, Bobby Wagner, Devin Bush, and then Jordan Brooks when he does come back from his injury.
Mm.
But my word, with Vi Jones not there, and Vi Jones can actually run, but like Ratigan, I know he had a bad knee injury as well, but like he can't move. Like
His his pursuit angles were really rough to watch tonight.
And that's often the case when you're slow, your pursuit angles are going to be poor because you're always trying to get to the play and you're
Yeah.
trying to make up for your lack of speed. So then you start over pursuing, you start overdoing it.
Yeah, yeah. There was a play fairly early on, and I think the first quarter, uh, where the Vikings bounced a run to the outside, and he was the only dude there to make a play, and he just kind of flailed trying to make the tackle. It was a rough look. So I I don't want to get super negative here, right? We try to stay hashtag positive here for the most part on the Seattle Overload podcast, but uh it was easy to see why they've brought in some linebackers as of late. I'll say that. And I'll just leave it at that.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for whatever reason they decided not to join in with the draft class this year or the previous year. Obviously, they didn't rate the guys that highly, and there is a dearth, I think, of linebackers coming out of college. The college game has just become such a different game than it used to be. That inside
Mhm.
backers don't really exist. Not the guys you were getting 10 years ago in the NFL. Pete Carroll did, though, unprompted when he brought up Devin Bush. The guy he volunteered before that was Patrick O'Connell.
Oh
Patrick
yeah.
O'Connell, the 24-year-old undrafted free agent out of Montana. I need to watch him back, but he was wearing 57. So,
Cody Barton?
yep, he too is white and similar stature.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
Montana is cowboy country, and
That's right.
Cody, he was a Utah guy, but he liked his ranches. He had his cowboy hats.
Brock Coyle type beat.
Yellowstone vibes. Yep, yep.
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, something to monitor. Something to monitor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, inside
I
back
didn't
is
watch
rough.
I didn't see him at all tonight. So I'll just,
Mm.
I'll take Pete for his word, and then we'll review in a couple days here.
Yeah. Should say that Pete was made a point of mentioning how it was the first time that they tackle anybody, and he was really disappointed they're tackling to start off with, but it's a case of shaking the cobwebs off. And they did miss some like really poor tackles. Carroll also mentioned run game struggles on offense as being like a case of they just need to get used to blocking, and that's kind of why they play preseason games. But
Right.
we did see that play out, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah, we saw that play out a little bit. Real quick. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Okay.
Oh my gosh, we'll never know. How
We'll never know.
exciting.
No. I thought I saw something, but it was completely different. All right. Where were we? So sorry. It's 2
Well,
a.m.
we can move to the next positive, Ty. If we keep
Okay.
it kind of run game, blocking, trenches related, Evan Brown as the starting center, he seems to have moved above Olu Oluwatomi, and he is yeah, I think Olu had he had a slight injury which held him out and sort of halted some of his progress. But Evan Brown was with the first string guys.
Mm,
However, Evan Brown, like because he's slightly smaller and has shorter arms, his anchor gets tested in a way that Olu should never get tested. And we saw that in a mock game, like Cam Young was pushing back Brown slightly. Brown wasn't beat. He's just gonna have to set and set and set a bit more than Olu will.
mm.
What was notable, and obviously the Vikings' quality on the defense went down as happens in preseason games. But what was noteworthy to me is when Olu came in, the offense started moving the ball, as has been pointed out by fans on Twitter. But also Olu was dominating. Like
He
he was
was.
not moving. He was moving guys, and he just doesn't move. Like he
Yeah.
looked very, very, very impressive. And Ty, has surely earned the chance to get against better opponents and have a bit more of a thing with Evan Brown if he's not already.
Yeah, I think this is a real competition. I was very impressed with what we saw. I think all 3 of us, you, me, and Griff, all said at the same time, like, "Dude, he's playing really well right now." Um, yeah, so I would love to see him, get, like, an actual real opportunity, get some starters, get some, dudes that he might see in the regular season. Um 'Cause, yeah, like, he was overmatching a lot of these, Vikings defensive linemen tonight, passing off blocks really well, standing dudes up. It was really, really good center play. So, yeah, again, wanna see him against, some better competition next time around against Dallas, hopefully. He earned it.
He did earn it. He did earn it, and that's very exciting. Anthony Bradford next to him, he had a nice pancake, but he had some up and down moments. So, and
Mm,
Phil Haynes in the first quarter on 3rd and 8 gave up a quick pressure on the guard where he just didn't expect the wide rush angle. So, but I think Bradford looks very much as we kind of expected, and it's very early to do this, but I think he needs a year, which
yeah. He also
is
had the holding call that negated the personal foul. Um, yeah, so, some hiccups there for him, but, we'll see the next 2 games for him.
yeah.
Obviously, plenty of time for him to turn things around, but, yeah, that's probably gonna be a little bit of a project.
Okay, so cornerbacks, Ty.
Mhm,
There was a big battle going into this with obviously Devon Witherspoon is out with another hamstring thing, regarded as not serious, but it just, I'm not sure he'd have played in this game anyway. Well, maybe because he's rookie, but he wasn't there. And really, the discussion with Witherspoon is we've touched on Kobe Bryant, and I've seen a question about him, which we'll get to on this subject. But the other thing which Witherspoon does is it means, yeah, he can play outside, but if he plays in the slot, who's going to play at left corner? Obviously, last year's starter at left corner was Mike Jackson. However, Mike Jackson's been working on the right side with Reek Woolen out. That has created a vacancy for somewhat forgotten man Trey Brown to come into the left side, where he played very well at in 2021 until he hurt his patellar tendon and missed the rest of the year and has been recovering since, but seems to have a bit more burst quickness, which has been showing in practices. And we hoped in the game, but Ty, Mike Jackson, he got beat on a Jordan Addison sideline catch, which
mhm.
they didn't review, but he did get his toes in. But he did show up against the run nice. Kind of did. I don't think he got as much play time as Trey Brown. And then Trey Brown had a missed tackle on 4th down in the flats against the big guy. He went for the low, take out the knees, and just missed. And then he had 2 tough moments on the touchdown drive, including getting kind of mossed for the touchdown.
Yeah, you got Moss, and then a couple plays before that, I think he bit it and didn't take the sail route. I think that was his man right there. That was his responsibility. So, there was a play earlier, I think it was on maybe the Vikings' first drive where he closed in on the ball and broke up a pass.
That's true.
I think that was on a curl to Addison. Um, but yeah, so it was kind of a mixed bag from him, but really what's gonna stand out from this game is obviously that touchdown drive. especially once they got into the red zone there. It was a
Yeah,
little rough go for him.
Because let's first talk about the sale route that you talk about. So Vince in the chat asked, was the coverage from Kobe better after he was late to that corner route, Vikes 19-yard pass on their touchdown drive? That wasn't really on Kobe. Like, it was cover 2 on that side. Now, the Vikings had a good concept drawn up where they condensed the receivers down, which makes the conflict happen quicker on the cover 2 corner. And so the outer guy in the condensed set, my hands are the wrong way around. Why are they the wrong way around? It's too late for stuff like this. Anyway, the outside guy ran a little outside release stop route. Like, if you're a cloud corner, you're lining up on the one guy and you're thinking, I need to deny him the outside release and get hands on him to buy time for my half safety over the top. But because it's all happening quicker, really, what Trey Brown should have done there is just pure zone that, I think, and he kind of got caught on the eye candy and the corner route, which he should have been underneath. Kobe should have been over the top. That got there, but it's good design. But really, Brown had to play that better. And then the touchdown tie where he got mossed. If you're a short corner and he's like 5'10", right? If you're a short corner, it's not a problem until it is a problem. And you have to be really, really good at playing the ball at catch points. And that guy he was up against is 6'5", but like he just. The way he timed his jump.
Is that Tanner Moose's brother, by the way?
Yes.
Maybe. Well, I mean, they're.
I don't know that.
They're both named Moose. They both have long hair. I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
You've never seen a moose before? There's loads in Canada.
Right. That's right. It's a good point. My bad.
Something to muse.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I don't. I have no idea. Like, how many muses are there?
Yeah, that especially that play football. Yeah. So probably. Anywho, how long are Brown's arms again?
They're over 32.
They are over 32. Yeah, but yeah, the size
just
obviously
and really you've got to anticipate that. Well, he did well because he had a conflict in the flat and he saw the corner route was behind him. It's again, it's a beater for that thing at the goal line. Like, a lot of teams play that kind of coverage at the goal line, and he just got it wrong.
Yeah,
like he was outstretched arm and he just didn't get to the ball.
Yeah, so it happens.
And that chipmunk Nick Mullins was dicing Seattle up, wasn't he?
Yeah, as per usual, right? So, well, and that's the thing too, right? Like, everyone's like obviously gonna overreact on Twitter. But Nick Mullins has played some games. You don't really have many of your starters out there. It's fine.
That's the point Mike Bennett made.
Yeah. So like, it's fine. It's cool. It's gonna happen. And obviously, like Pete mentioned, the tackling was poor, but they got that under control, and things looked a lot better from the first quarter or from the second quarter onward. So, yeah,
absolutely. And a big encouraging factor for me, Ty, is the Seahawks have changed their defensive scheme. Now, Pete Carroll actually spoke on this. He was asked, like, can they take away from the run defense, which in this game gave up 3.2 yards per carry, but that does include Nick Mullins' 2 for 9-yard carries, which were scrambles, I believe, which is 4.5 average. So if you remove that, then it's slightly better. I'm not doing the maths or math. It's too
I can
late.
do it real quick. I'll do it.
You're gonna. Wow.
I'll be stat boy. I'll be stat boy. Yeah. I gotta find the box score first. So
get the box score up and then get your calculator out and then subtract the 9 yards and the fact there was 2 carries in that, and then okay. While you're doing that, Ty, the run defense has changed. So I noticed, and I wrote on it on my Substack, Seahawks on Tape. Check it out, www.seahawksontape.com. But I noticed that Seattle had changed how they're playing their nose tackle in their nickel 4 down, even over front. Okay, and they were one gapping, power stepping him more. This scheme was like pre-2022 Seattle, where they did a lot of things which they didn't really do in 2022, but had done previously when Pete Carroll had a good run defense. Now, those were mainly run front things, like it's to do with run front. And that is not to say that the Fangio stuff's out. Like, for instance, it's still a 3-4 and they did it for a reason. But like, the coverage even was more spot drop, less matching. That might just because it's the preseason, they haven't had time to work on the coverage. But like, just interesting to me, and it works. It does work. Like, it's proven. So whatever happened, and I'd love Pete Carroll to be asked, but he's obviously changed it. And he, like I said, he was asked about this and about whether he can take stuff from the run defense performing well. And he said, yes, absolutely. And, unprompted, he wasn't asked about the tactics of this, but he said, yes, absolutely. Scheme worked well. And we liked the way we played, the choices that we've settled in on, the way we basically play. Because when he says basically play, while on offense, like every NFL offense has similarities, and when it's the preseason, you can get super vanilla with it without really giving up what you have. Now there are still core identities to it, but it's less pronounced than the defense. Where on defense in NFL preseason stuff, there is a much clearer, and we've spoke about this before, probably last preseason, but there's a much clearer kind of route to things. Like you can't really hide your base way of playing things. And from the base way of playing things on defense, you can extrapolate kind of the whole recipe, the whole lot. Like, just as I could see that a one technique nose tackle means so many other things. You have to be pretty nerdy to do it, but like the way that Seattle basically plays has changed in 2023, and it's much more similar to pre-2022 when obviously I think they got caught in trying to do too much Vic Fangio stuff, which you can debate whether some of those concepts work, but also I don't think Seattle could coach it, and I don't think they had the players to do it either. So Pete said the calls worked out really well tonight. Guys were really confident in them. And as we played more, we got better, and they brought the scheme to life a little bit. So it was a good night for us on defense, a really good night, except for the start where we couldn't tackle anybody. But he is taking, he's taken stock in the scheme working, the scheme that they've decided on for 2023, based off the run defense tonight. And he hasn't even watched the film yet, and I'm doing the same thing. So he just like me. I saw it and I was like, that's like Seattle. Like they're running a reduced over front, a 6-2 kind of appearance, which they used to do. They're running bare fire zones, which they did 2020 to move stress points. And their nickel over front still had that one technique, and they weren't trying to two gap the front. They're one gapping up front. So very, very cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to actually seeing, Jaron Reed and hopefully Cam Young soon doing that. See what that looks like. And I did the math. Stat boy here, putting in the work. And
Return of Stat boy.
With yeah, that's right. And without the two Mullins rushes, it was 3.1.
Wow, it's gone down by 0.1.
Yeah.
Stick that on your wall.
Well, technically it was 3.08, so round it up to 3.1. But we could round down.
Round that up?
Yeah, we could round that down if you want to.
Yeah, let's just round it down. It's
all
3.
Right, it's 3 flat. 3 flat, baby. 3 flat.
Yeah, there we go. So other positions of note, wide receiver. So It was disappointing. Obviously, we mentioned at the start of the show, D. Eskridge sadly injured on the opening play, not too serious, twisted his knee. Cade Johnson was a serious injury where he got a concussion. Yeah, they took him to hospital. That's a precaution. It tends to be what they do with these guys now. The good news about that so far is that Pete Carroll said the reports out of the hospital were a real good report, he said, and there's no findings so far. They obviously have to keep him in probably overnight for a few more tests, but fingers crossed Cade is okay.
Yeah.
It was disappointing that we didn't see Cody Thompson out there after he had a really solid preseason. He was missing with a tight groin, but that just handed Jackson Smith in Jigba with the first stringers a really good opportunity. And Ty, he kind of looked like you'd expect.
Yeah, it was pretty much what you would expect. Had a couple of catches. And then there was one where he got open on I like kind of saw it, so I'm not exactly sure what he ran, but it was kind of a crossing route or something, and I think Locke just threw it behind him.
Yeah,
So I
but
think,
if he hadn't got a hand on it, I think he was getting picked. So
yeah. So, what he ended up finishing with 2 catches, 2 catches, like 3 catches, 25 yards. What was the 3rd catch that he had? I remember the one at the beginning.
it was a play action slide. He caught it for 2 yards and he got tackled high.
Right, right. Yeah, so, um, yeah, that was pretty much, as advertised, nothing really to get too excited about, but, I wanna see him with Geno, obviously. I don't know if we'll get to see Geno this preseason. I would assume that we'll get at least a tune-up maybe at Lambeau, if not next week.
Okay, so on that subject, oh wow, I can't even find my bookmarks, but because Twitter's so broken. But Greg Bell reported that the one of the games this is great. Just hold on a second. He
Sure.
reported that one of the games is where they expect the starters to play the
Gotcha.
most often. Here we go. Next week versus Dallas, August 19th is where the regulars will play the most.
Okay. Alright, so there we go. So we'll get to see that because obviously Gino and JSN, they've gotten rave reviews from people that have gone to camp and watched them. So for the rest of us, right, who are not fortunate enough to get to go to Renton, uh, that's pretty exciting. So, outside of that, in the most predictable fashion, Jake Bobo was obviously the story of the receiving group tonight. Got a touchdown, had, quite a few catches tonight. Him and Drew Wu were working really well together, seems like. And
And Holton Ahlers,
yeah, yeah, Holton Ahlers. Who caught the 2nd touchdown? Or the touchdown from Ahlers?
Matt Landers.
Matt Landers, right, yeah. So,
So let's
uh
deal with Bobo first because I have some thoughts on Landers, but yeah, Bobo was pretty predictable, right? Like he
yeah,
cooked in the mock game.
mhm,
Like he just has a connection, and as we've seen in the past with like your Case and Williams, these tall guys who are a big target and
yep,
aren't awful at running routes, they cause problems for the lower strings. And
yeah,
the touchdown that Bobo had was impressive. Where like I don't know what the corner was doing, but like he ran like an inside release and then broke outside on a vertical go route or fade route and was wide ass open. And
mhm.
his production in college, given he ran what was it, a 4.740 or whatever,
I think it was a
he must,
4.9.
he has to have some craft to him. And he was
Mhm,
wide ass open on that play. He had 3 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Good for him. He also made an incredible play on special teams, which unfortunately they couldn't quite keep it in. But he was the one who batted it out, and
right,
unfortunately the guy caught it. It was his toes were in the end zone, and so they didn't actually get the punt on the 1 yard line. But Bobo's chances of making the roster, they are slim because unfortunately for him, DK Metcalf is the big tall
yeah,
guy and he's the X. And then
yeah,
it's what type of player, you're going to have DK Tyler, you're going to have Cody Thompson, most probably, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Your 5 and your 6 is Derek Young going to be there because they like him and he's another big. And
mhm.
then do you carry 6? If you carry 6, it really is about special teams. So he has to make it on special teams. And would Seattle prefer a guy who could also return? It's where the utility comes into it. And ultimately, a 6'4" guy who runs 4.740 is tough for them.
Yeah, it's just how valuable is having another X on this, like, how much is he actually gonna be able to impact you? And is he necessarily the best special teamer? No, but that also depends on the health of Cody Thompson because Cody's a really good special teamer when he's healthy. So, I would say that he still has the inside track, assuming that he can get back on the field here. But yeah, nice night for Bobo, and, he's putting some tape out there for teams, and, maybe he gets on the Seahawks practice squad.
A nice night for Bobo. That sounds
Nice night for
wrong.
Bobo. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So Matt Landers, okay, he
Mhm.
caught his touchdown from Holton Ahlers,
Right.
and
Which
again,
that throw.
Hey, I
That
love
throw
how he gave his receiver a chance on the play.
that's right. That throw was an adventure.
It was a trip. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
ride.
yeah, yeah.
But Matt Landers, who caught the touchdown, is a 24-year-old undrafted free agent rookie wide receiver.
Mhm,
And I just think it's interesting that he's over 6'4", he's 200 pounds, and at the combine he ran a 4.37 seconds 40, a
mm.
37-inch vertical jump, and a 130-inch broad jump. Just interesting.
That is very interesting, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. Um, yeah, so maybe he'll get an extended look here.
There, there you go.
That's an interesting tool set. Yeah, certainly. Aesop Winston also had a pretty nice game. He caught the touchdown from Drew Lock, which was a nice ball from Drew. Um, so yeah, so maybe he's kind of in the mix here. I mean, again, I still feel like as far as the fourth receiver, fifth receiver, whatever, as far as that goes, it's pretty much Cody Thompson's job to lose unless, he's just not able to get back out there. Same with Derek. Like those two guys are kind of the front runners on that front. Um, but yeah, we got some competition. We got some guys competing right now. What did you think about Drew's night? Because we haven't really talked about him for the most part.
Sorry, what did I think of who?
Drew Lock, Drew Woo.
So he had his pick right,
Yeah.
and
Which was
Pete
that
Carroll,
tipped?
yeah, and Pete Carroll said it was technically the correct read, but like I think it's still getting picked if it's not tipped. Maybe I'm wrong because he did try and zip it in there, but like he opened
Yeah.
to the other side, then he came back. He thought I don't think he knew he had cover four. Like that quarter flat defender was getting under that in my opinion. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, we'll wait for the end zone angle, but that didn't look like even if he, got that in there, like without anyone getting a finger on it,
and
that
like
that
the
was
corner was overlapping that as well. If
yeah.
it goes further,
Yeah,
so
so so even if the underneath defender isn't there, that's probably that ball's getting broken up or it's getting tipped into the air, like something like I don't think that was gonna go well either way.
right, and like don't forget we've actually seen more of that play than Pete has. So at this
Right.
stage.
Yeah. So yeah, because Pete seemed like confident that if the ball didn't get tipped, like that was fine, but that didn't look like that. But overall, I mean, like, Drew was pretty good. Um, there was some there was a couple occasions where I felt like he held onto the ball a little too long and whatnot, but we saw some good velocity on the ball. I mean, like his arm is incredibly impressive. The hose, right? The hose is real.
Yeah,
Uh,
it'd be nice if it could connect with a receiver downfield.
yeah, yeah, I would like to see that. But he was sipping some balls in there. And obviously we're gonna see him a lot, right? Like Pete said tonight, like he wants to see Drew a lot. So we'll see, what that means for Holton Ahlers the rest of the way. Like if he's actually even gonna play, which I don't care. To be quite honest with you, I don't care if he plays another
I
down the rest of the
imagine
preseason.
no, well, what's cool about the cut downs being in one go at the end of whatever
Mhm.
is what we see, and when I say that in one go, they're going 90 to 53 like bang.
Yeah,
Uh, I think third game's gonna be Drew second, first half, Holton second, whole of the second half
right,
with the other guys who didn't quite make it. But like
right.
Holton, I'm sure he has a spot on the Seahawks practice squad if he continues like he did tonight. I liked how he's a perfect preseason quarterback, lowering his shoulder into bigger guys,
Yeah,
left-handed, so intriguing and kind of deceptively
right,
fast and lots of grit, and also wearing 15 and left-handed, which is funny. But this
right,
is
yeah.
this
He's a
is
g he's a
not
gym
just the
rat.
Tim Tebow reincarnation. This is the Holton Ahlers.
Yeah,
I could get his name right, that would help, but it's
he's,
his
uh,
era.
he's he's the first one in, last one out type of dude, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
to your point about maybe like him not playing that much, I think this next game where Greg Bell said that the kind of regular dudes will play more often. I think that will shake out as like Gino probably maybe for the first quarter, maybe second quarter. I doubt it, and then
yeah,
probably Drew for the rest.
Yeah. I was legitimately, like, unironically looking forward to watching Drew Lock tonight, and, like some of the throws. Wish he did some things, didn't like the interception, but overall, it was solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be so nice if Seattle could get, like, a day 2, 1 pick from him. Because, like, to be transparent, like, that's what they're hoping for with him on the roster for a year, isn't it? Or, like,
Oh, yeah.
for him to it's kind of an odd situation, like, for him to re-sign in Seattle for another year, then things maybe haven't worked out how either side envisioned. But
Mhm.
then, they don't want him to sign elsewhere, and but I don't. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying at this point. Finally, Ty, my final thing I wanted to talk about is the running backs. So heading into
Right.
this game, I was excited to see like that kind of DJ Dallas versus Zach Charbonnet deal because obviously Kenneth Walker is the starter. Then they like the idea of having a 1-2 punch going on, not just handing it all on Walker's shoulders. Even though I think he can at this point take that load. But really, what separates these guys is their ability to come in, like Travis Homer crafted out a role on passing downs for his pass protection and blitz pickup stuff. It is as that passing down running back, something Seattle uses quite regularly. And we didn't really see the opportunities for that, while also the blocking wasn't like clearly they were struggling early on to get it right. And so we didn't quite see that shakeout. Although my favorite play of the whole first half was Zach Charbonnet catching a check down over the middle and lowering his shoulder into Lewis
Yeah.
Seen and knocking that guy over. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
And Peter Engler, who
Mhm.
is Peter Engler? Well, he is let me get his title. He works for the Seahawks.
Mhm.
He is a Seahawk. He's in Seahawks football research assistant.
Mhm.
And he tweeted a clip of Beast Mode's first Beastquake
Mhm.
during that play. So there you go. Clearly, Peter Engler sees a bit of Beast Mode about Zach Charbonnet, and
Yeah.
that was pretty Beast Mode. And if he can bring like tough hitting like that as a compliment, I think that's nice and nasty.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun, and, yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna really like Zach Charbonnet if he keeps on doing that, so.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's the Seahawks preseason.
Also,
Preseason game 1.
shout out to Koback. We're Koback.
Koback. He
We're
was
Koback.
and do you know what? Just to finish on this game, like
Mhm.
and I think I started with this, but that was how and we don't want to overreact, but that
Mhm.
was how Pete Carroll wants to play games. Like
Right.
he'd like to have run the ball better at the start and like to have tackled more, chalk that off. But
Mhm.
they ended the game running the ball pretty effectively.
Yeah.
And on defense, because they'd stopped the run and they were up by 2 scores, they had stopped the run to have some fun. They'd earned the right to rush the passer, and they rushed the passer pretty well. And they got some sacks, and they teed off, and they did their thing, and they played back and didn't give up the big play. Like that is the Seahawks model in the preseason, and so that's what I think Pete Carroll himself will be emphasizing to the team. Game 2, we will see more of the regular guys. I think JSN, like with Gino, is going to be cool because like the play Lock missed him on. Like you got to remember, I think JSN's been working more with Gino than he has Lock.
Right. Yeah.
There's probably more of a connection present there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll find out. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow Ty at Dane Gunzulus, follow me at Matty F. Brown. Check out SeahawksOnTape.com where there is that article on how Seattle's defense has changed, and they've actually changed more based on tonight, which is very, very cool. And also follow Griff. He will be back at C Mike's Spin Move. Until next time. Oh, and this is a podcast. Have we even said that bit yet? This is a podcast. So go on Apple or Spotify or Spreaker or the other ones and give it a
Mhm.
5-star review and say, I don't know, Matty needs to change his whiteboard thing because it says training camp and it's now preseason.
It
Get
is now
dialed in.
yeah, you fool. You
Yeah,
absolute fool.
moron. Or
Yeah.
say the Blue Jays are choking on a large
Crouton.
piece of bread. Crouton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, yeah.
Go
And
Rams.
since I plugged my work, check out Ty as well. He does a Mariners podcast, Ty, which is called
Locked On Mariners. You can check it out on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, just like this podcast. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Great first show of the 2023 Seahawks.
I'm so tired.
Season. So tired. We did it. We did
tired
it.
Dan
now
Gonzalez.
It's time for bed. It's 7:46 a.m. here.